Hi, I'm Jenny and I want to give you some top tips around Christmas presents and wrapping Christmas presents for your children. The process around thinking of gifts, wrapping, giving, receiving, unwrapping, dealing with the emotions of getting what you wanted or the disappointment of not getting what you wanted can all be really challenging and quite stressful for lots of the children we work with who have neurodisabilities or learning difficulties or autism, for example. We know that children, particularly with autism, find it difficult to imagine. They might not be able to imagine what's inside a present, and that can be quite stressful for them. We know that surprises can be difficult because they're unpredictable, and predictability makes us feel calmer, so that can be a challenge too. Christmas presents are often wrapped in paper that's covered in snowmen, Christmas puddings, reindeer and Santa, but it has no bearing to what's inside, and that can confuse children that we work with. And then we have to understand that not all the presents under the tree are for us, and we might have to share those presents, and sharing can be a difficult concept to deal with. Dealing with that emotion of receiving what you wanted or it not being what you thought it was can be really difficult for lots of our children. So you can see why it's quite overwhelming to be faced with a whole pile of Christmas presents on Christmas Day. It's overwhelming for lots of children, but for children with additional needs it can be really confusing and quite stressful. And then on top of that, if you have motor coordination difficulties, you might not be able to open the present easily, and then that becomes stressful too. If any of these things sound familiar, then here are some top tips to try to take some of the stress out of Christmas presents. The first thing you might want to do in the run-up to Christmas is practice the process of wrapping, giving, receiving and unwrapping. You can do this with anything and it can be really good fun. So for example, you might want to get a piece of fruit, wrap it in some old newspaper, give it to your child and say, "Happy Christmas." Allow them to unwrap it really easily. Don't make it difficult for them. And enjoy the surprise of what's inside. But do this when it's not stressful, when there's no pressure. And just practice the concept with any fun items in the house. I would really recommend you practice all aspects of Christmas in the run-up to it. Buy some really cheap crackers and put them on the table. And when you're having a really nice time, just practice doing the bang. You might want to practice wearing a party hat another day, or practice eating some of the food that you might have on Christmas Day. It'll just mean that when it comes to Christmas Day, and there's all those new things going on, your child's already familiar with some of it. My second tip would be maybe not to give all of the presents all at once. One present that occupies your child for the day on Christmas Day might be enough. So maybe consider spreading the presents out. Start a bit earlier, extend it beyond Christmas. Keep the fun going. My third tip is around the way you wrap your child's Christmas present. This could make quite a big difference. To start with, think about the wrapping paper. You might want to swap the traditional paper covered in Santa and Christmas puddings for something really plain, like some tissue paper or just some plain coloured paper. Tissue paper is really good because it's really easy to tear, so if your child also struggles with the motor skills of unwrapping a present, tissue paper might make it easier. The next thing to do, and don't be alarmed, but put a picture on the outside of what's on the inside. This will just take away the confusion, the stress of the unknown, make it really predictable, and might just take some of the stress out of out of unwrapping a Christmas present and not knowing whether it's what you think it might be. You might have to be really careful that that picture accurately represents what's inside, because we know that some children are very black and white, and if you put a picture of a certain toy on the outside, they'll expect that exact toy on the inside. So just be careful. The next thing to do is write your child's name really clearly on a label and stick it on the outside of the present, so they know it's for them and there's no confusion. Not for anyone else, and they don't have to share it. You could consider putting all of your child's presents in a box with a clear lid. Then they can see exactly what they're going to get. You can still add a ribbon and a label to make it look fun and pretty, but it might just take away that unpredictability. My last tip would be try not to worry. Don't worry that you're doing it differently from everybody else. Everyone does their own thing at Christmas anyway. It doesn't matter that your child's presents are wrapped in some clear wrapping or that they know exactly what they're going to get. Do what makes life easier. Christmas is stressful enough. It's just up to you and your family to do what makes you feel good. Have a good time.